Well, hello, I've got another development update for the Eldritch Zookeeper. It's a game about keeping monsters in a zoo. And I've added a load of environmental work in the last couple of weeks. If you've been watching these updates for a while, one thing you might have noticed is that up in the upper right hand corner of the screen there's this sort of temporary UI text that has some information, and one of the bits of information that's up there is the date. But the date has really had no tangible effect on the actual game world, so I thought I'd start to sketch out what the game feels like at different points throughout the year. Winter, for example, wouldn't be winter without some snow every now and then, as you can see in this rather overcrowded zoo. The first snow of winter, which usually happens in the first few days of the season, is always a particularly heavy one, and over time the snow begins to settle on the ground. There's all sorts of fancy ways nowadays to achieve this effect. You can go and use some vertex shaders or do something like that, but it's actually just slowly moving some snow geometry up through the terrain, which is much more straightforward, and the effect is fine as well. There's lighter snow varieties too. I also apply some additional colour grading during winter to bump up the blues and desaturate the other colours somewhat, just to make it feel a bit more chilly. Spring is a particularly rainy season, so the player can expect regular showers. I feel like I'm doing a bit of a weather report right now. I didn't mean to do that. Rain and also snow, really. They're purely visual effects right now. You know, when it rains, when it snows, there's no knock-on effect on the zoo simulation yet. I've got plenty of ideas about how that will affect visitors and monsters, and how the player will have to keep weather in mind as they are building their zoo. Fog, that's another piece of weather, isn't it? That's been a thing in the project for a while. You might recall that at night time a gentle mist rolls in, just adds a little bit to the atmosphere. But as the year progresses and summer turns to autumn, fog can roll in at any moment. This fog right here, this is a light fog, but there's also a somewhat denser fog, which really affects visibility and makes it rather more difficult to keep track of what's happening in your zoo. And finally, I've thrown in this really heavy fog, the density of which means it's essentially impossible to see more than a few feet around you. If this looks annoying and unfair to play in, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is right now. But I do have these further plans, right, with this fog in particular, that will mean the player will be able to deal with it and greatly lessen the unhelpful impact. There we go. There's still some work to do here and there. You know, the snow needs some particle effects while running through it, and I'd really like to colour grade each of the seasons, make them all feel unique, but that's all polish that can wait for now. Another update complete. You know what? You should stay in touch. Click that subscribe button, and that means you'll be able to follow along with development. Why not do that? That sounds like an excellent idea. Thank you so much for watching.